this day. Yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world.
Good evening, Mr. President.
All right. I know we're all tired. I just need a quick rundown before a full cabinet, full schedule tomorrow. John?
Still pulling the strands together. But I can tell you now there are real gaps in the INS. The whole visa system. That's where I have to start first thing in the morning.
Okay, good. But there is one thing I know. They have figured this out. I mean, they figured out how to get around whatever systems we have in place, so I want you to rethink it, John. All of it. This must never happen to the American people, ever again. Never. It is time to start thinking in unconventional ways. And I'll be ready to listen.
Then I'll be ready with ideas.
Norm?
We're still inventorying the number of aircraft in Canada and Mexico. How many and where? I'll have it by morning. Meantime, all airports remain closed.
Really happy to see Colin.
Had to be a record getting from Peru to D.C.
It was, for me. But we were in good hands with Condi while I was incommunicado.
Your work with President Putin paid off. He stood down and never flinched at the DEFCON Delta.
Let's just hope he's on board for the long haul.
I expect so. He's got his own problem with the Muslim Chechens and a huge Muslim population in Central Asia.
How about the rest of the world?
Blair is solid. He trusts we're not about to nuke Arabia. But the usual suspects have the usual sniffs of distrust.
Based on what?
Based on we're Americans and can do what we want, and they're not, and can't. And there's a matter of their comfort zone with you personally.
By usual suspects, you mean the Europeans?
They're skittish. They have large Muslim populations.
I'll make the calming calls first thing in the morning. I'm used to that with the Europeans.
This can be an opportunity for us. We can reach out, especially to the Russians and Chinese. Use this to improve our relations with them.
They've also got a large Muslim population, reason enough on their own to fear Al-Qaeda.
We can make common cause.
How to prosecute that cause, Mr. President? How much evidence will we want before we go after Al-Qaeda?
We're almost there.
Have we considered cutting off the head? The ruling Taliban was nurtured by Pakistan's Internal Security Agency. Now they are funded and embraced by UBL and his Al-Qaeda. Afghanistan is the terrorist virtual fiefdom.
And we're going to start there.
That's easier said than done. It took 6 months of Desert Shield to enable 6 days of Desert Storm. If we're after making faster headway, we've got to skip a generation of military thinking. Fight in a new way.
That is exactly the kind of thinking I'm talking about. That is unconventional. All right, Rummy. You want to shake up them generals, huh? Go ahead, push them. Ask them. Well, why not?
Yes, sir. Yes. Hard, fast, and soon.
And that is just a start. And we're not just going after terrorists. We're going to target anyone who pays them, supplies them, feeds them, or harbors them in any way.
That's new policy, Mr. President.
Maybe. But there is no other way, and we're not going to let time slip away.
We'll have to make it clear to Pakistan and Afghanistan that this is it. Showtime.
Please do.
You'll need to declare to the world that this is what we're going to do. That there's a risk to aiding and abetting our enemies.
This will take some selling.
What new policy doesn't? So, we get our ducks in a line.
That means NATO and the UN.
The Brits are already preparing an Article 5 resolution from NATO that'll put them legally and militarily on our side. I'll report back on the UN, but I don't think Al-Qaeda reads the resolutions.
All right. How do we tell Al-Qaeda we're denying them sanctuary?
By using every tool of U.S. power. Military, diplomatic, financial, intelligence, cyber science, legalisms, money, everything.
We're going to start there first thing in the morning. Now look, you know there's a whole lot of people out there, most likely the terrorists included, millions more around the world, a whole bunch right here at home that think we have gone soft. And all we can do is send a few $1 million cruise missiles into an empty tent. Some of our own right here at home that think all we can do is file a few lawsuits as a response. Well, if that was the case, it isn't any longer. And we are going to have to educate the whole world to that. I'm not saying it's easy. Or that I know exactly how to go about that, not